Oh my God, it's Mint Salad. Hello, Mint Salad.
Oh my goodness, you're famous.
Oh my God, I am. And you know what day it is?
No.
It's Friday the 13th.
I lost my calendar. Did you take it from me?
No.
Why not?
Mint, you really need to take an improv class. Like, you know how to
You don't know how to yes and.
No, you know how to yes and, but like your ending is like, you just sidetrack. You take it in weird directions that are hard to like.
Tony, you're the host. You're the one whose job it is to keep this on track.
So it's Friday the 13th.
Yes.
And earlier this week I did Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I want to do a video for Friday the 13th that's about Freddy versing someone. And I was like, you know what? Let me review a comic book, a really good comic book. So the opposite of the one I'm holding right now, like a really good comic where you understand what's going on and you actually relate to the characters and they...
It was a weird journey. Hey, Tony,
Yeah.
I honestly, when you sent me this, I was like, oh, I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. And then I read it and I was like, oh my goodness, this is such a good read.
Actually, you know what? I didn't know this existed until a few years ago.
Oh, you didn't? When
Somehow-
did you first?
Somehow it just... I just missed it. It never showed up on my radar.
When did it first come out?
It came out in the early 90s. I believe because at the end of every issue, they show you like stills from like the newest Jason movie, which was Jason Goes to Hell, where Jason's barely in it.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Oh.
Because I know you're only a few movies into Friday the 13th.
I'm only on part 3, but
Oh.
I'm doing part Friday the 13th part 3 on Friday the 13th as
So
well.
Today?
Yes.
Oh my God, you're
That's
talking
coming
about
out
two
today.
Jason things today.
Yeah, it's wild.
Well, in part 9, he gets blown up in the beginning.
Oh.
But that's okay. He turns into a demon worm that can jump bodies.
Is he invincible?
Kind of. Anyway, so this was coming out around that time.
Okay, that makes sense.
So early 90s, this is by Topps Comics, which was like a trading card company, but also did comics. I actually talked about them a while back when I did
Is there a Bottoms comic too?
You know, I'm sure there is a publication called Bottoms. I think there's a movie out now called Bottoms, actually.
Oh, wow.
And I think it is about gay people. No, Topps was a trading card thing. They made comics. I talked about the Frankenstein one from 1994. So yeah, they did Jason versus Leatherface, or as you know him, Chainsaw Guy.
He is Chainsaw Guy. My Texas Chainsaw Massacre review is out if you haven't seen it.
You know what? I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway there.
All right.
Because I think he only says Leatherface like once, and it's while everyone's screaming. So.
Yeah, why would I don't remember ever recalling him saying that. So I just called him Chainsaw Guy for ease.
It's one of those things where they say it more in the other movies. I mean, you should just know he was called Leatherface, but, you know, whatever.
Oh, I should just know as a first-time watcher of this movie. I should just know all the things.
Because the character is so popular and multiple
popular
movies.
with whomst?
It's the world.
Okay, I guess I'm not tuned in with the world, Tony. All right, you showed me this comic.
You know what? I didn't watch your review.
You didn't watch my review.
I actually know I did. I skimmed it. I heard Chainsaw Guy. I was watching the premiere while I was doing something else.
Okay, that's fine.
But, you know, it was very informative. I'm sure you mentioned that the mob was involved in that film, and no one knows how much money the original movie made because the mob covered up. Oh, did you leave that detail out?
Yeah, I didn't know that,
That's
Tony.
like a real thing.
Tony,
Anyway.
you're the encyclopedia.
Anyway, everyone wanted Freddy vs. Jason to happen in the 90s. And then it took forever to come out, but we already talked about that on this channel. So Topps Comics was like, you know what? Why don't we do Jason versus Leatherface?
That was an interesting concept. I'm glad they went with it.
Yes. It's a weird pairing because they're almost too much alike, but the comic actually uses that to its advantage, which I thought was interesting because Freddy and Jason are like completely different. One's like a wisecracking dude who has magical powers. The other one's just a mutant zombie.
I can see that.
Yes.
What do you think they're similar though? What makes them similar? What makes them different?
They're quiet. They like their family for the most part.
Yeah, that's true.
They're big, they're buff, they're tough, they're very like hands-on. They're not very witty. I mean,
they're more like stoic.
Like Freddy is like, I'm gonna turn into a snake and eat her.
Yeah,
and,
he's just kind of menacing.
yeah, I'm gonna pretend to be their mom and yell
Yeah.
at them. Leatherface is like, oh, there's a man in my house. I'm gonna hit him with a hammer. And Jason's like, I'm gonna chop this guy's head off with a machete. I'm gonna chop 3 guys' head off with a machete at the same time. That's in part 6.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So yeah, when I first heard about this, I'm like, well, that's a boring pairing. And then I read the comic. By the way, great covers. What did you think of the covers?
Oh my goodness. So the copy I read, it was interesting. I was like, oh, this is kind of like kind of blurry in the line work. I guess the copy that I read, I think some of it was corrupted.
Yeah, no, I looked at that copy also, and it looks like there was something weird there. But that's not the comic's fault.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna mark any points off for that. I do like. It kind of reminds me of like early '90s. Like Rugrats style, would you say? Ish in a way.
Rugrats?
Yeah.
No, man. Actually, that's the furthest thing I could compare this to. But keep going. Keep going.
Okay. All right. It's like early '90s style.
Okay.
Okay. Would you agree with me there?
Yes.
Okay. Early
Yes.
'90s style. So I thought it was like the covers had good emotion.
Yeah.
And good colors.
Well, Simon Bisley, he's a famous comic artist. He did like covers for Judge Dredd. And actually, there's a show. You just did Shaun of the Dead, right?
Yes, I did.
So those guys, Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, they had a show called Spaced.
Space.
And in that show, Simon Pegg's character is a comic artist, but the guy who drew all his pictures was Simon Bisley. But the only problem I
Cool.
have with his art is that Jason, and someone pointed this out on X. Remember, it's called X now. He looks more like the guy from the game Splatterhouse, the old video game Splatterhouse.
I've never played Splatterhouse. That sounds violent.
It's a fun game. It's a fun game.
Okay.
So yeah, let's talk about this comic a little bit.
Yeah, let's do that, Tony.
Okay, so the first issue,
Yes.
Crystal Lake is polluted. Jason is underwater. By
He's
the way,
just chilling.
yeah, the continuity in both of these film series is garbage. I'm pretty sure every Texas Chainsaw after the second one is a reboot and not an actual sequel. And the Jason continuity is all over the place. So this is like in its own little universe.
Okay.
Where you
so
only
it's just
have-
separate from everything else.
It feels like it's separate, and there's some like things that contradict movies, but I think that's just
Okay.
because like, hey, for this comic, you just need to kind of know who they are, and that's it.
You just gotta know like what archetype they have.
Yeah, it's just like a
Okay.
Jason Water hockey mask, got it. Leatherface, chainsaw guy, got it.
From what I gathered from this,
Yeah.
it was like, okay, I also was like, this is initially away from the movies, but I was like, I think they interpreted in this comic book like Jason is just an omnipotent underwater dwelling guy.
Yes.
Is he like that in the later movies?
Yes.
Okay.
They turn him into a zombie in part 6.
Is he just like
And then
forever
he's a demon.
alive?
Then he's a demon worm.
He's just a demon now.
Well, they did send him to hell, and then Freddy brought him back, and then he went to space. Anyway.
What?
Yeah, and he becomes a robot who fights himself. I covered that comic last year where Jason
Why?
fights Uber Jason.
Why?
It actually makes a lot of sense when you read it.
Okay.
So anyway, some evil company, they're polluting. You know, it's got a very environmental message. Woke, am I right?
I don't care.
Any
about
comic
woke
that has a
things.
message is woke. I mean,
I'm sleeping right now, Tony.
Anyway, it's just so funny that there's a physical copy. I never thought I'd see a physical copy of that.
It's interesting. It's a weird feel.
So a company is like, oh no, we polluted Crystal Lake. We got to drench the lake.
It's a drenching.
Yes.
It's too wet.
Yes. Well, no, it's too polluted.
It's too wet.
No, it's too polluted.
What's the issue? It's too much.
Anyway.
The pollution was supposed to be there, Tony. They put it there for a specific reason. They put it there for a specific
Speaking
reason.
of polluting lakes and swamps, check out our Man Thing review.
Yeah, you should do that. We have a more good informational discussion about
It's
gators.
A more good informational discussion. That's
Hey, Tony, I wasn't loved by your parents. Okay.
so you relate to these characters somewhat.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
You were shown movies. I wasn't. Yeah. I'm going to
So
one up.
Jason is brought out of the lake, and they're like, throw all this garbage on a train and get it out of here. And wouldn't you know it, after he kills a homeless man and his dog. That was sad. He killed the dog.
It's like he should have John Wick them.
Jason should have done. But Jason killed the dog.
I know he should have. He should have.
So Jason should kill the dog and then shoot himself for killing the dog.
Yeah, if he's so invulnerable, then he should prove it. He should really prove it.
Mate, he's proved it multiple times. I don't think Jason
No, he
needs to prove
do it
his.
one more time.
No.
It's a way that
Again-
those two franchises can collab.
Again, man, not to spoil it, but when he blew up and turned into a demon worm,
What? Why does it makes him a worm?
it makes him a demon worm. Then he has to go through bodies, but only a body of a relative will bring him back to life. So he
What
goes.
makes him a worm?
It's just he's a demon.
And that makes him a worm?
It's implied. Okay, god damn it. We have a whole review on Jason Goes to Hell and the work print. It's
Okay.
implied in that movie.
Okay.
You've seen Evil Dead. Are you aware of those yet?
I have. I am aware of Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
They threw some Evil Dead props to that movie, so that suggests that Jason is actually a Deadite. And
Okay.
there actually is a Freddy versus Jason versus Ash comic, but we're not here to talk about that.
Okay.
So Jason eventually gets his body back by crawling up his sister's vagina. And then he comes back with all his skin and his hockey mask.
That's painful.
We got to get back to this.
Please.
So he's on a train, and what do you know? That train takes him to Texas, of all places, where you are right now.
Yeah.
We're talking via satellite. I'm over here in Crystal Lake, which is supposed to be New Jersey, but this comic contradicts that, and you're in Texas. How is it? How's the weather over there?
It's hot. It's spicy. And it's Tex-Mex.
So he makes it to Texas, and we see a man who's being chased. He's being chased by the Sawyer family, who are the Leatherface family.
Yes.
And I felt bad for this guy. He's like, oh, thank God. This random goalie found me in the woods. I hope he saves me.
Like, the only reason you would run into Jason if there's a worse person chasing the guy who's ran into Jason, you know?
Yeah, it's like the worst thing that could possibly happen. It's like, oh, no. I got away from Leatherface. Oh, here's fucking Jason. Anyway, Jason, like, kills the dude, but then, like, for some reason doesn't kill Leatherface. They fight for a little bit. They, like, start to fight, and then they stop.
You know, I think at some point, some emotion caught Jason.
And
Like friendship or something.
The weird narrator, who I don't know who the narrator is.
I thought it was like Jason's like inner monologue.
He doesn't have an inner monologue, so there's a narrator. I can't believe I kicked my desk here, and it
Why would
moved
you
your mic all the way in Texas.
No one would have noticed it, Tony.
So-
It's because of all the food you eat. Well, you're not as fat as Vito, though.
Oh my god, I'm not. So anyway, he decides, like, wait a minute, these guys are like me. They kill people, and this guy's quiet. He's just like, I'm gonna hang out with these guys because I don't think Jason's ever met other killers.
It's because he hasn't. And
No.
what's interesting is like they bond over the killer thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking, okay, so if they're killers, how do they resolve conflict? Was my thought process.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I got to see that.
Yes. They stop fighting. They go home, and they're like, well, we're not gonna kill you. You seem kind of cool. We're gonna make you a meal.
Yeah, and
Out of
it's like
people.
head jam. I didn't quite understand what head cheese could have been in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That was almost the name of Texas
Head
Chainsaw.
jam?
No, Head Cheese was literally
Head
almost the name
cheese?
of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was going to be called Head Cheese.
What makes it to cheese?
I don't know. The guy explains it in the movie. I forget though.
Not in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I
Yeah,
got
he
that
talks
was
about making
confusing.
head cheese.
Well, he says head cheese, but he doesn't like give a recipe.
We're not here to talk about. Yeah,
I
'cause-
want to know the recipe of what head cheese is, Tony. I want. It's
You know what?
very
You know what?
specific
Watch the
things.
movie The Menu, where they give you the recipe for all the horrible murder stuff. Anyway,
Is that the new one?
yeah,
Okay, I've seen that.
with Anya Taylor-Joy. Yeah, they give you recipes in
Yeah,
that.
I've reviewed that. The menu.
I missed it. I'm very famous, man. I can't keep up.
Well,
with your
I'm
daily
also
reviews.
famous, so we should respect each other's famous time.
You're more famous than me at the moment. You bitch. Anyway, so I kind of like, because they're bullying Leatherface, and these are the characters from the first movie, the first
Yeah.
two movies. It's Hitchhiker, which doesn't make sense because he died. Also, he's a Nazi now. He's got the little swastika. Or maybe he's just real into that ancient symbol. I don't know. I'm assuming it's for
The
evil
Hudo
things.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the cook is there, grandpa's there, grandma from the second one's there. I like when they make fun of Leatherface and like Jason like follows him upstairs and then remembers like when he was a sad boy in his room. And I remember reading this, I'm like, are they going to be friends?
I was thinking that too. I was like, okay, so I know there's like 3 books, right?
Yeah.
So like, so yeah, I took it as like an arc. So I
Yeah.
I remember this entire 3-book series as like a whole arc. And like the first book was the first act.
Yes.
The second book was the second act, and the third book was the third act, and vice versa, and all that fun jazz. You know?
Oh, yeah. You're right. The 3-act structure makes sense because it's a 3-part comic book.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Yeah, I sure did.
What did you think of them asking Jason's name and like he remembered drawing his name in crayon and then he uses blood to write his name?
It was interesting using those flashbacks to like convey what he thought about like what to do in that situation. Well, I remember doing the blood, so I'm going to do it here.
Yeah.
And
but then that's like a weird thing. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm friends with you guys now. And then the second issue starts where he's like hanging out with the family.
with the friends, you can be more comfortable. Just do things that you want to do around
Yeah.
people. But usually you have to hide because you know you're Jason and you're being told, "Hey, I've just killed everyone I've encountered."
Yeah, that is his thing. His inner monologue, I guess, is just like Jason doesn't know why he's not killing these people. He's very confused by it.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think he just wants to be friends with Leatherface.
Yeah, they both want to be friends.
They
And
want to be, and it feels it was actually kind of heartwarming. Ironically, I'm like, wow, they look like they get along. They both have their own weapons. They both kill people.
yeah, they can like bond.
The problem is, Jason has a hard time bonding with the rest of the family.
Yeah, I mean, what's fun is I like seeing Jason pick chainsaw guy in like the family duels.
Yeah.
What is it called? Like arguments. They have little
Feud,
tiffs.
family feuds.
Family feuds, and they have tiffs.
Yes.
And within those tiffs, he's like, "I'll help you out, bro."
Yeah.
And then like the fucking siblings be like, "Oh well, I'm gonna be big tough big guy with you."
Yeah. I do like that hitchhiker because he's used to bullying Leatherface, who's just used to it.
Yeah.
And then he tries to like bully Jason, and he's like, "Oh wait, no, this guy."
That guy is gonna like, I'm gonna axe you, motherfucker. Phoom. Phoom, phoom.
They go on a kill together, and
It's so bonding.
the guy's mad because Jason killed the girl too quick.
So this made me understand Texas Chainsaw Massacre more.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Chainsaw
I don't think I watched that one, but yeah, keep going.
So Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I didn't quite understand that they were cannibals until like maybe two-thirds of the movie, but with this this comic, I was able to understand that they're actually cannibals and they're eating everyone.
It makes the cannibal stuff is more clear in the second one.
Oh.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a lot of fun because it was like 10 years later and they just kind of made it a comedy. But the cook enters a chili contest and he wins, and as someone's eating it, they bite a fingernail and he like pulls it out.
Oh, is it like South Park episode?
Yes. Anyway,
Oh, jeez.
The weird thing here though is as Leatherface is getting beat up by the family, Jason remembers like when I guess his stepdad used to beat him up. And then I thought it was odd because then they flash back to his mom and she's like way fatter than she was in the movie. And now her name is Doris and not Pamela. I thought that was bizarre.
Huh.
But,
Weird.
But yeah, again, it's another reason he wants to like help Leatherface. Like he can fix him, Mint. He can fix him.
You can't fix anyone. I mean, no, you can't fix
Can
anyone.
I be fixed, Mint?
What's your issues, Tony?
We don't have time. Let's get back to Jason versus Leatherface.
Tony, just enjoy I don't know. Matt, okay, Tony.
Yeah.
Here's the solution to everyone's problems.
Okay.
Think about death constantly. And what would you want your last words to be? What would you want your last actions to be?
I apologize for mint salad.
Oh no, I'm helping you.
It's gonna be my last word.
I'm helping you.
When I die, I'll be like, oh man, is that my fault?
It's not your fault, Tony.
What have I done? Anyway,
It's not your fault. It's never your fault, Tony.
Anyway, the third issue. I kind of forget like what happened. So the hitchhiker's bullying Leatherface again.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna stab. Oh yeah, he's gonna like stab Leatherface. And Jason's like, nah, fuck you, dude. Don't mess with my bro. Don't
Yeah,
mess with
that was.
He's
fun.
like, fuck you, hitchhiker, and your weird human furniture.
I do like the like. Okay, so there's definitely a social convention here. Like, even though they have tiffs, he still loves his brother enough to protect him from Jason.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I'm a big fan of this because Jason gets taught something about family structure, human structure within like the bounds of like what he understands. People like him.
Yeah.
And so whenever he's then given like a bonk in the head, and I thought, oh, okay, he's dead. And then he gets sent back to water, and then the cycle repeats. But he has something to think about. He has a new perspective.
You skipped over the fight.
Yeah, well, I like the revelation.
Yeah, no, we'll get to it.
Okay, Tony.
I was a little disappointed that the fight was like 3 pages and it's like over as soon as it starts. Because like, was it Leatherface cuts him, and then they're like fighting with the chainsaw. But you're right, the hitchhiker like bombs him on the head.
Yeah, exactly.
And his brains spill out. I remember being like, I'm actually real invested in the story, but I thought it was going to lead up to a kind of a bigger fight. Freddy versus Jason. It leads up to a very satisfying fight.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, they are losing limbs by the end. They have like no limbs at the end of it. Yeah, they're so. It was like a year after Kill Bill, so there's blood just spurting out of all of them.
That's a lot of gore.
Yeah, so this fight was a little disappointing, but like you said, I like when they throw him in the water because they think he's dead. I do that if they're like, well, you know, he was our bro. We can't eat him. That would feel wrong.
They had like some like moral feelings about it. I'm like, okay, well, this is heavily nuanced.
Yeah, and then you're right. Jason he comes back to life and he's like, oh, I really like Leatherface. I miss that guy.
I really like the part where he's like, well, before I met these people, I was like under the water just in anger.
Yeah.
And then like he goes through this like character growth, and then at the end he's like, you know, I kind of have like a more of a perspective about life now.
Yeah.
I
He's
really
like, you know what? They loved each other and that was nice, but I also hate that love. But he's going to spare them. He looks at their house. He's like, I could kill all of them,
but I don't want to.
but I'm going to go home instead. I love how they're like, he could have killed them at any time. It's like, Jason, you got one hammer to the head and you were out for a bit. And I've seen movies where he's gotten hammered to the head and he's like part 3 and he was fine afterwards.
So this, what do you think this takes place canonically?
Canonically, I don't know because actually at the end of this it says Crystal Lake is in Vermont, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be New Jersey.
New Jersey?
Yeah, New Jersey.
Oh.
I went to the actual Crystal Lake camp. It's a Boy Scout camp. They do a tour every October.
Is it clear like crystal?
No.
No.
It's Camp Nobi Bosco.
Nobi Bosco.
Camp Nobi Bosco. They do a Crystal Lake tour. Anyway, canonically, I think this is his own separate continuity. He looks like the Jason Goes to Hell Jason, and there was a Jason Goes to Hell comic, but the Friday the 13th continuity is a disaster, and I don't even know if this is in the Texas Chainsaw continuity, this should be 1973 because all these characters are dead by the second one. But yeah.
Fascinating.
Yes.
All this is so hard for me to keep track of.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's impossible. So yeah, that's the Jason versus Leatherface comic. Doesn't really deliver on the Jason versing Leatherface that much. But you're right, it is a weird character study about 2 mute, bumbling idiots having like emotions and going through like a weird thing.
That part was fascinating. The titling, it should have been Jason
meets Leatherface.
Jason and Leatherface combined to be a cool set of dudes. That's the title.
You're right, man. How did Topps Comics not know that they should have called this Jason and Leatherface combined to be a cool set of dudes?
Yeah, it's the ultimate title.
If only you were alive in the 90s, you could have went to Topps Comics. And
yeah,
been like, hey,
I would have showed them my skills.
Jason versus Leatherface, get this title out of here. I got a better one for you.
Exactly. You know what's up.
But yeah, it's like a weird. It's better written than a lot of the movies, a lot of the later ones.
I was surprised at how well written it was.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I first started reading this, I'm like, oh, okay, here's a comic. Here I go. And then by the end, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so good.
It's better than the last comic
So-
I reviewed, which was the Halloween one where they try to connect H2O to 4, 5, and 6. And spoiler: Jamie Lee Curtis is Michael Myers at the end of it.
What the heck in the heck in the heck?
Yeah, I know, it doesn't make any sense.
Why?
And this was better than the Jason X comics, which I actually did enjoy. But yeah, so that was it. That was Jason versus Leatherface. What a great Friday the 13th this is.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah.
What would you rate this?
Out of what?
10.
Out of your rating system?
Out of my rating system.
I would rate this. Oh, man. I give this like a 8.9. Solid 8.9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give this like a solid 8.5.
8.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Above passing. We did it. We did it.
Yeah, good job.
Mint salad.
Yes.
I was going to say, where can we find you? But, you're so fucking famous. Where can we not find you? Where can we find you, Mint Salad?
All right, Tony. Okay, so I do daily movie reviews every day, 7 p.m. ET on Mint Salad
The
Saw
extraterrestrial?
Eastern Time.
I went to Universal Studios today.
Congratulations. Eastern Time. You interrupted my plug, Tony.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
I'm plugging here. Anyway, so we have I do daily movie reviews every day, 7 p.m. YouTube.com/ASC Presents. It's called Mint Salad Saw. If you want to see which movies I've reviewed, just type in Mint Salad Saw and then whatever movie in the search bar. Also, if you want to support the daily grindiness, you can check out my
You usually
link.
dance when you do that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Hey,
doing
thank
your
you.
job for you.
If you want to support the daily grindiness of all them daily movie reviews, go to the Linktree, linktr.ee/Titsman Salad. If you want to request a movie review, you can do that for $20 redeems. Patreon.com/ASC Presents. Done did it, Tony.
You did it. And yeah, go back and watch my Friday the 13th playlist, my Nightmare on Elm Street playlist. Check out those comic reviews I did last year for the Jason X comics. And yeah, have a happy Friday the 13th, guys. Let me know if you read this comic, what you think. Goodbye.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.